Hello and a very warm welcome to ET Now. The person we are about to speak to defines her life in two phases. There is an AC and a BC. There is before cancer and an after cancer. But frankly, the most inspiring part is the time in between. That's the one that has been flooding media with. She has been talking, but among TV interviews, this would be among the first. It's great to have Sonali Bendre with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sonali, tell me, as far as this journey of yours is concerned, something like this you would never see coming, but it would hit you like a bolt of the blue.
Yes.
Like, you know, life, when you see it, it feels like everything is going smoothly. And many of us believe that, you know, nothing like that what you read about outside.
Can I say something
Of course.
in between? When you said everything is going smoothly.
Yeah.
I never thought it was going smoothly. Actually, when I hit this roadblock, I realized how smooth my life earlier was.
You didn't realize it, you took it for granted.
Yeah, we take it for granted and we think, oh, this is not happening and that is not happening. And we really don't think life is smooth till something like this happens and then you realize, oh my God, it was smooth. This is a bump. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the intensity of it has to strike you and strike you hard.
Yeah.
When you get to know only once you get to New York, which you weren't very keen to go to for therapy.
Yeah.
It's only over there that you get to realize that it's fourth stage
yes,
cancer
yes.
and 30% chance of survival.
Yes.
Now that can hit very hard.
So I think between, in 4 days since we got the diagnosis, we were literally 4 or 5 days. Fourth day, I think we were we had left. So those 4 days when Goldie was insisting that we need to go, and I was like, why? Why can't we do this here and take it a little slower, and what is the hurry about and everything? Now in retrospect, I understand that the thing about this disease is that you need to attack it. And you need to, you cannot go mild on it, and you cannot say, let's try this out. You need to go all out and you need to finish it. It sounds like a hard thing to say, finish it, attack it. Yes. Life is really not like that. These are the words I'm using because I really don't know how else to convey it.
Right.
But it was not like I was at war, and it was not so aggressive all the time, because there were moments of lot of peace and calm and joy through this journey, which took me by surprise also.
But you can think of those instances only in retrospect as being those of calm. When you're in them, because there is this reality, the peace and calm is only romanticized notion of going through the process.
I was really surprised at how could I feel at that time what I thought was happy. I said, what is this? I'm having fun. And I'm like, how can I be having fun? What's wrong with me? And I thought that maybe I'm actually, under the whole thing, I am depressed. How can you not be sad when something like this is happening? And am I like burying it? And am I pushing it under the carpet? And, I need to clean this out. So I went to a psychiatrist,
right.
And I actually went in there and I said, I don't know what is happening. So I said, I said, how can I be so happy? And he just looked at me, and then, we went through the whole process. And at the end of that, he told me that, what you think is happy, I have another word for it. What you are is joyful. And I suppose what happens is that when you understand that this can be a hit or a miss,
right.
You suddenly start living every moment.
Right.
And I think that's what I was doing. I was living every moment. I was enjoying every moment, so that one moment I was kind of maximizing it.
Just the notion that you have to fight this at one level, right? So there is a certain level of being at war. There's an aggression that you need to kind of, like you started out by saying.
Yeah.
And at another moment, you have to enjoy every moment because you realize how frail life can be. Suddenly, it has turned.
Yeah.
Balancing the two, was it tough?
Tough in the sense I actually thought I was losing my mind, and I actually thought that I'm actually, needed psychiatric help, and which I'm glad I took, because I think there's a reason why there is counseling and a psychiatrist, or just to take. I feel that if the help is there, you should take you should kind of tap into every resource that you can lay your hands on,
Sure.
and not be kind of I'm not going mad, so why do I need a
Right.
psychiatrist, or why do I need counseling and stuff like that. I think we all do. It's always nice to talk to people.
Yes.
Also because you're with a caregiver, and your caregivers are going through a lot also.
Yes, sometimes
So
they
in
say
fact,
they need more help.
yes, they do, and I really feel because I'm the patient, I'm able to act out and do a few things, and while the caregiver is the person who is kind of taking it all in and kind of remaining stoic, and there's a lot of turmoil that's going on. So my sister, my husband, they were going through so much more, and I felt that just kind of understanding that how much they are also going through with me in a different sort of a way was very, very important.
Right. So then, meeting the psychiatrist, he opened up a new vista as well, because I've heard you say about this hoarding that he set up for you, where he's talking about you dealing with this idea that perhaps you've done something that has caused this. It could be at an emotional level, it could be in the lifestyle that you've led. That's the first thing that one does, right?
Because
Like, why did it
everybody
happen?
told me that. Everybody was sending me messages, or when they would talk to me, they would say, let the negativity out and don't suppress it, and lifestyle changes and everything. And I get it, it's all absolutely there. But I didn't think I was carrying any negativity inside me, and I'm not.
Right.
Because if you see what I was as a person also, yes, definitely, I'm not going to say, I still have my days of when it is hard and when it is low, and I pick myself out, and it's not been like, oh my God, what a fantastic life. There have been ups and downs in it, but on the whole, if you look, I have a blessed life, and I do have gratitude for it, and so I do come from that background. And when you look at what other lifestyle changes, I didn't really need to make too many changes, because I was eating a certain way.
Right.
I was more or less
Leading
a
a
fit
healthy
person.
life.
So then my question was, so then why did I get it? So why me came in that sense to me. It
Absolutely.
was not the why me of pity was over.
Correct.
The why me of now I'm curious and I want to know that these are the reasons everybody is talking about, but they don't apply to me.
Sure.
So you know what, maybe it does, maybe what I'm feeling, how can I be joyful or happy? But I kind of understood that. I understood that this is what I'm eating even post that. So why is it causing it?
Right.
So the why question came into play when he told me that cancer is either genetic or a virus. So I said, okay, so what is the bottom line? That my cancer is going to be genetic, or it could be a virus for anybody who is watching it. But your lifestyle, if it is not good, can aggravate any disease or
Sure.
any illness. It
Right.
doesn't have to be cancer. It can be your heart, it can be your diabetes, it can be obesity, it can be all sorts of various diseases. So in the same way, the negativity and all of that is absolutely bang on. It can, but that applies to any disease or
Sure.
anything that is unwell, and anything that is negative in the body or not well in the body, it needs the purging.
Right.
But that was not the reason why it caused my cancer.
Sure.
And it
And
was
knowing
very
that was
important for me to know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if you don't know why it happened or what was the reason, how do you correct it? So for me, what the corrections that were being told, I was like, I've already been living like this. So how am I supposed to correct this? What more am I supposed to do this? How much more positive can I be? So,
Sure.
that was my...
So then this period of purging that you went through, obviously there were several things that you would have done, and also family and friends makes a
Yes.
whole lot of difference.
Absolutely.
But that's an external factor. There are things that you would have done, because I saw you on social media. It wasn't the rosy picture about someone who's fighting cancer.
I didn't want to lie.
You were talking about the pain.
Yes, because I
which
didn't want to
was-
lie.
Yes.
I didn't want to lie because it's a very serious thing. And from when I went through my when I put my first post out, I actually I was in the middle of doing a show at that point of time, and I did not want gossip about it and speculation about what I was going to go through and what is actually happening. And because in today's day and age, WhatsApp, internet, my child, my parents, my mother-in-law, I didn't want my family to be going through various speculations and gossip.
Right.
seeing it and getting scared. They would be going through enough already. But the response I got to that post is what was made me continue with it, because what I realized that from every strata of society, from every age group, from various genders, I've got it from from various parts, not of the country but of the world also, people reaching out and telling the stories that they were going through. And there were two things that I realized from it. One, that I was like, I did not know cancer was so rampant. And the second thing was that, I needed to reach out, and there were people who were holding it inside, and there was a lot of things that they were just not sharing, and hence, they were making it harder for themselves, because when you don't share, you're keeping it all inside yourself.
So you were just going after dealing with it, right? In the sense that you needed to put it out there.
Yeah.
And that was your
and that was it.
Yes.
But when all these responses came,
Sure.
I just felt that I needed
helping.
to share my journey to a certain degree, in the sense of being as truthful as I can be about it, because there were so many people who had written in, and I realized that it was something that was pretty much common,
Sure.
just that I didn't know about it, and which means it was not a regular talking thing.
Right.
So I just thought that, I would have been, by then I realized that, if I had to go through this alone without the magnificent support system that I had,
Right.
it would be awful. Most beautiful part for me was the fact that I was in a country where I was not known. So when I walked across the
That was
street,
easier, right.
no, not just that, but the fact was that when, they could see with my bald head what I was going through, and there were absolute strangers and absolute general people who were reaching out and helping me in that moment in whatever way they could to make that moment easier for me.
Right.
And what I realized was that human nature was to love, was to help, and we really work against our nature and start hating on people.
This is true, but like you said, you start appreciating the smaller things which you've taken for granted in the past. But I'm just wondering, for someone who's been a celebrity, who's always been known, if she walks out on the street, to have that kind of phase, because there is one where you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and the changes that your body is going through is something else that you have to deal with, and also people's reaction or your perceived
well, I think it helped that I was not here. Maybe that helped. But what are we actually scared of when we are getting old? We are scared of losing the tightness. We're scared of the lines that are coming on. We're scared of the little droop that's happening, and the body that's not young, and we feel it's not so beautiful anymore. Is that the fear? And what is... So the other fear is that, I've been known all my life in a particular way. They will not know me anymore, and they won't recognize me. So... the instinct,
those fears you already had in the past?
Instinct is to
even
hide.
Before you reached this stage, did you have those fears?
To a certain degree, not really in a very biggish way, but yes, to a certain degree.
I imagine every celebrity would go
yes,
through that.
Yes, of course, and I was dealing with it in my own way, and be it when I was pregnant, I've always been out. I've never kind of with the weight, without the weight, in all sorts of ways I had been out. But that was a theory that I said, I live by this theory. And this was the time to kind of test that theory.
Right.
Because there was a lot of times when I felt like just staying inside and hiding behind certain things and not letting it out. And actually kind of putting it out as a picture on the social media was to say that, what is it that is this what that I'm scared about? Here, it's out there.
Right.
Now what is stopping me? So it was, I felt I was not helping, I was helping myself.
Right.
I was going through, this was a way of going through this journey. So every time I felt I can't face people, I was putting it out there, and then I said, yes, it's out there. Everybody has seen it. What am I hiding from?
Sure.
And it just helped me step out.
Yes, but one place that you'd have to be very concerned about, I'm sure, before you actually did it, was talking about it to your adolescent son. Now, that would have been a difficult part. I'm going to take a break and come back and speak about that and much more with the one and only Sonali Bendre. Do stay with us. Back with Sonali Bendre and her inspiring life journey as it's turned out. Sonali, I was talking about your son, an adolescent, and he has to face it perhaps to a larger degree what you're going through, because it comes across very differently to a child. How did you think you were going to address it? Obviously, you spoke to your husband Goldie about it, and you had a plan of action. Ranveer was 12 at that time, just going to turn 13. And it's a nice way to enter the teens, I would say.
maybe keeps him on the track. But yeah, he was on a trip, and you know, we did put this post out once he came to us.
Right.
So the other option was the family said the whole family is here, he can come back and we are all here while you're dealing with it. And Goldie and me were clear that no, he needed to hear it from us, and I wanted him with me, around me, when where we could share it, because over the phone you can't, even if it is you know, FaceTiming or Skype or whatever it is, it's not, I needed to touch him.
Right.
I don't know if that makes any sense. It's not
does.
like, but I just needed to hold him
Yes.
when we shared this with him. So when he landed and Goldie had gone to pick him up, and when he picked him up, he told him that, Ranveer, we're not here for a holiday. This is what it is. Mama's not well and we've come here for a hospital. What happened? And he said, you know, it's something, I don't know if you know, but it's called cancer. Do you know about it? And first thing, Ranveer was asthmatic, took out his pump, took that, you know, puff, and then he said, I know what it is, Papa. How do you know what it is? And he said, you know, a couple of years back, Mama and me read a book, and this is going to be a hard thing on the family because it affects the entire family. It's going to be emotional for the whole family.
Right.
So Goldie was a bit like, whoa, where is this coming from? So that's when he explained that we read a book, and in that book the sibling goes through it, and you know, the changes that happen in the family when they go through this whole thing, it's going to be a hard thing for Mama, it's going to be tough on her body and all that. So he was like, he said all that, and then he was quiet. And when he came to me and he saw me and I was waiting to cut my hair, I wanted him to see me like that, and he just gave me a tight hug and just said, Mama, we'll get through it, Mama. And it just told me that, you know, children can be so resilient.
Yes.
And the other thing is that had I not told him the truth, just the fact that Masi had come to pick him up and all that. See, children are picking on these various things.
Right.
So even if they don't know, what I realized in this journey is that even if they don't know that what is wrong, they realize something is not right.
Sure.
And when you're young, you start putting the blame, am I doing something wrong?
Of course.
They start taking it on themselves and they really don't know how to solve it. And that's the reason why I feel being honest with them, because they're very resilient, you know, they can deal with whatever you're
You'd
giving
written
it
a
to
book
them.
on parenting.
Exactly, and
So
that came into play
insight,
here.
It did? Yeah? Did it come?
Did. And so
useful?
the instinct was to get him with us and tell him exactly the way it is without hiding it.
Sure.
He came for my chemo. He was dreading coming to the hospital, and I knew he didn't want to because he was very worried. I said, I want you to come. And he said, today I want to go here. I don't want to come, Mama, and all that. I said, no, but I want you to come.
Right.
And he came, and I saw him coming tentatively, and he peeped in and he saw me. So that little fear that was there at the back of his mind, everything was in black and white. He was seeing it.
Right.
And so, you know, there was, of course, there would be fear and all that, and the uncertainty, and there is going to be an emotional upheaval. And but when you know the truth, you can deal with it.
Sure. So, I mean, it's intense. All the
Yes.
things that you go through
Yeah.
is almost taking you to different spaces that you've never been before.
Yes.
So you're learning on the job, so to speak, yeah? And you develop a certain level of fearlessness because you realize that's the only way, right?
Yeah.
The concept of fear has changed in you over a period of time because, I mean, even if I look back at your career, Sonali, a Maharashtrian girl from a humble background comes into an industry where she has no background as such.
Absolutely no background, yeah.
There would have been fear at that stage as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the concept of fear has gone through its own journey.
So there
in your
was
life.
fearlessness in the choice that I made to come in there and do what I was doing.
Yeah.
So very fearlessly I came in. But what I did, which was very interesting now when I look back, but what I did was I was so fearful about an environment that I didn't know that I really built a lot of walls around me. I was not as trusting and as open as I would have been earlier, you know, so as a child or whatever. So I built up a lot of walls around me, and though I might smile and I might be friendly with people, but I was really not letting people come beyond a certain point for the longest time. And
This is the pre-social media era.
yeah, it is. And you know, as somebody I knew, and then somebody I got to know better, then somebody I worked with, then somebody who I became best friends with, dated with, and eventually got married to has pointed this out to me, that I have China walls around me and it takes a long time to get through. So I really take time to let people in.
Sure.
But I think that has changed now, and that was not how I was earlier. So that did, because coming into a completely different environment, I did build that up. And then the second part was when I became a parent, and I really kind of started being fearful, because you become a parent, you're fearing for the child, and suddenly the whole thing changes. And though I didn't realize I had started building my walls up when I came into this profession, I really could feel that fear when I turned a parent. And I said, what has happened to me? I used to be so fearless, and I've turned into this, I'm scared of everything that is happening. Oh my God, what will happen to my child? Oh my God, what will happen? I said, what's happening to me? And I speak about it in my parenting book, that how as parents you turn. I think now I have come to a point where last year we made a pact with, Goldie and me said that, listen, we turned parents and we became really fearful after that. And I think this has taught us now that fearless is the way to be. And so we promised each other that now onwards we're going to be fearless.
Right.
Believe me, we are happily forgetting the promise quite frequently, because when you come back into this life, then you fall back into old patterns. So yes, this is something that we do remind each other. There are times when we look at each other and we say, remember, we promised we are going to be fearless.
I've heard you talk about brain fog as well. There are certain parts that you seem to forget. Is that a good thing?
I think that's survival.
Is it?
And that's been a part of me. Things that are not nice. Like my sisters will say, you can't remember this. I said, this was not a happy memory. Why would I remember it?
Sure.
So I've had this habit. What was not so nice, you feel it, you finish with it, and you're done with it, and you move on.
Sure.
So that is something that I have been able to compartmentalize, and that does help me deal with certain things, because when over here, there are times when others are reminding me, or pictures remind me, or when you ask me certain questions, and when I go back into it and I said, oh yeah, this also did happen. And but that's the coping mechanism of the brain, and that's how you survive. And you say that
nature takes its own course. There's no taking away from that. Yeah.
But having said that, there is brain fog. I'm forgetting names, I forget faces. It is so embarrassing, I cannot tell you, that I know this person, I know this name, but I just can't remember the name. Or I know I was supposed to pick up the phone. I mean, there are times when I called my girls up and I'm like, I can't remember what I picked up the phone for. And it's like brain fog. I suppose when your body is dealing with so much, and that fatigue, when it sets in, maybe that's what causes the brain fog, because it's dealing with so many things.
So just dealing with it, and now in the aftermath, the AC phase that you're going through, obviously there is an entire fitness regime that you're following, because I see you looking perhaps even more radiant than what I remember of you in a Sarfarosh, or perhaps even Kya Masti Kya Dhoom days. These are things that you grew up on, and then you look at the same person and you're thinking, my God, she looks so different. The hair is looking very different. I remember it being poker straight.
The hair is different, yes.
Yeah?
So yes, what I call my chemo curls. So I believe after chemotherapy, when the hair comes out, it comes out curly. So I think I said, you know what, I just want my hair to come out with a lot of volume now, and it has.
And it has happened.
So I love it, yeah.
And what about the fitness routine? I know you walk a lot, you did yoga as well. Is that
so yes,
a
I
regimen
tried
you're following?
out a couple of things, because yoga, Tai Chi does help you when the fatigue levels are so much, when you're going through chemo, and when you come out of it also, you're tired and you're dealing with so much, that these are the things that do really help you recover and are gentler, and also help you inside in your inner strength. So I did dabble, I would say, in all of that, but I think eventually, as in everything else, I have formed my own routine for things. So but eventually, and the nerve ends and the tingling and not having the sensation and all that, but it all, as I kept working out, it's all come back. So yes,
that's wonderful. What about the financial stress, Sonali? Because obviously medical care today costs a whole an arm and a leg and much more, right? It's become very expensive, and we don't have as much penetration in India when it comes to health insurance. This can be really telling on a person dealing with cancer, because it's a long treatment and a very expensive one.
You said it, absolutely. You're absolutely right. In fact, one of the first things that I said when I came back was that, health insurance is important. It does make all the difference. And we always think that I'm not going to need it.
Yes.
It's a way of kind of, we also say that shubh shubh bolo, or don't say that. But the fact is that there is no running away from it, and if you have it, I'm nothing can make it easier. I mean, I'm not taking away from the pain and the emotional trauma that you go through, no doubt about
Yes.
it. But you know, if you can afford a certain kind of treatment and a certain kind of recovery after that, because
Right.
what we do not focus on here is also the recovery, and that is there post any surgery.
Absolutely.
We don't give it importance, we don't give physiotherapy the importance that it needs to be given. But recovery is a process which is important, and it's going to cost you a certain amount. So, you know, having that insurance kind of just helps you take on and eases it a little more. With all the stress that you're going through, that reduces that stress a little bit. So
Right.
yes, I would say that it is important.
Very, very important, I would imagine. But now that you're getting your life back on track, as it were, there is a whole legacy that you've created before this happened, right? The BC period. Now that you're over here in this phase,
Yeah.
how difficult is it to climb back? Because the opportunities are all out
But
there.
to climb where?
This is what I'm asking. Where would you like to climb? Have you made a choice?
No, I just want to be, and if the climbing is part of being, then I will climb. If it is just a straight path, then it will be a straight path. If it is a curve, then I'll take the curve. So I'm not sure if it is going to be a climb. It could probably be the walk on the beach.
Wouldn't it be
After
wonderful
cancer.
where you get to choose exactly what you want to do?
Yeah.
You're not building any targets in your life anymore?
I'm
Is
sure
that
I
how
will
you,
get to choose what I want to do.
you would?
Yes, because that is definitely something, you can make those choices when you're fearless, and I intend to be fearless, and I'm going to intend to remind myself that I'm going to be fearless.
Well, more power to you, Sonali.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure talking to you. You've been very inspiring, and we wish you great luck ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
so
Sonali.
much.
Thank you.
Wonderful talking to you.